Alright, so I'm going to be showing you how to make the hit types. So for stunning, for blocked, block break, and things like that. But the first thing I want to do is address an issue with the input began, the isTyping thing for the user input. So if we play the game now, you see that, okay, blocking works, but if you press shift, it just unblocks, like so. So a way to fix that is, it's because it's saying that left shift and right shift count as a sort of game processed event. So if we want to get bypass that, we can say if processed and change this to inputs. And I would say if processed and input.keycode is not equal to enum.keycode left shift, and input.keycode is not equal to enum.keycode right shift, then we can say isTyping was true. So now if we play the game, we'll see that, okay, now if we press shift or anything like that, it won't unblock. If you start typing, then it will. So yeah, that's that. Now, let's go on to the hit type sort of deal for this video. So for hit types, it's going to be something like, we'll make a folder called HitTypes, and then we can make ModuleScripts depending on what the hit type is. So let's say like, okay, you just hit them normally, you call that default. And we can duplicate this, we can call this blocked or block break, like so. Let's do focus on default for now. Let's call this default hit type just for a comment, and local hit type, and then return hit type. Actually, instead of doing this, we can just say return function and then add our variables in here. So if we go to our FIST system, we can actually start requiring these hit types. So remember in the previous video where I was like, if you run code outside of here, it'll automatically run once the FIST is, or once the module is required. So we can say something like requiring hit types. And now we can say for underscore comma module and script.parent.hit types do. I'll get children. Oops. If module is a ModuleScript, then let's say hit types like so. Weapon type dot hit types module.name equals require module. Now if we go down here, instead of just making it take damage like so, we can say get the status folder, or we can say local state service, which you already mentioned up here. So local is blocking equals state service.check state, your target hit comma blocking, like so. Now we haven't added a blocking hit type in here yet, but this is going to be in the future minutes before, once we add in the default type. So we can say if it's blocking, then blocking, or like do blocked hit type or something like that. But otherwise, we'll just say default hit type. Now, for this combat system in particular, I'm not going to worry about sort of thing like a block or posture bar. We're just going to make it to where if you're on the last M1 or last squing, it'll block break. So we can say if squing number.value is greater than or equal to 5, then last hit, which is going to be a block break. However, we don't need to do this up here. We only need to do this if they're blocking here. So before we even add in the block and block break hit types, we can say if squing number.value is greater than or equal to 5, or we can't do that because we already reset it, so we will do true squing number. If true squing number is greater than or equal to 5, then block break. Otherwise, we just do the blocked hit type, like so. But here we'll just say our weapon type dot hit types default, and then we will do the open parentheses because this is going to run the function because we returned a function. But now we need to add in variables or parameters so we know who exactly we're hitting and things like that. So here we can just say, okay, we want the character, we want the target hit, things like that. And we also want the weapon used. So let's see if we have that up here anywhere. Here we go, yep, tool.name. So you can say tool.name, like so. Now we can go over here, we can say attacker, we can say target hit, comma weapon used, like so. And we can also, if we want it to autocomplete, so we can add annotations in here. So if we go to fist, we can say, okay, we know the character is going to be a model. We know the target hit is also going to be a model. And we know the weapon used is going to be a string, like so. Now we can make it do damage. So we'll say we'll require the weapon data. So we can say WeaponData module. Let's get our services first. Local modules. Now we can say WeaponData module equals require modules.WeaponData. Now we can say local found WeaponData module dot get WeaponData weapon used. It found WeaponData, then now we can check for the target humanoid, target hit, find for shot humanoid. If not target humanoid, then return end. And now we can make it do damage. So we can say target humanoid, take damage. You see it doesn't autocomplete, so we can say annotate as a humanoid. Now it autocompletes it for you, take damage. And then we can say go to our thing right here, dot damage if we recall. So we can say found weapon data dot damage, like so. And then just for like, we can add a print statement and we can say default hit type reached, and we can say comma attacker, target hit, weapon used, like so. Just so we know that the module is actually called. So now let's review out the code. And yep, it should work. So if we play the game, we'll see that okay, our punching works, our blocking works. If you punch him, you can see that okay, hit type reached and hit dummy fist. So we know that works. Now we can start working on things like our blocked hit type. So if we duplicate this, we can call this blocked. And then after that, we can refer back to our fist script. And we can say weapon type dot, or weapon type dot hit types block, and then we can call it like so. Tool.name. Now I want to note like how exactly useful this is, because the reason we pass in the weapon use string, right, is because let's say we want a unique sort of effect or something like that. We can say if weapon used equals, let's say sacred katana or something. We can add like a really cool effect if we want to, and things like that. Or if we want it to be default, we can say, oh, else we'll just do a normal hit effect. But we're gonna do an effects handler in the next video. But for now, we're just gonna work on this. So we can go to blocked. We can say blocked hit type reached. And here we don't want to take any damage. Or if we do, we can go to our weapon data module. We can say chip damage. Essentially chip damage, it's just block damage. Or we can change this to block damage. There we go. We can say, okay, we want them to take like 2 damage if they're blocking or something like that. Now, we can just go back to here. Go to blocked. And we can say target humanoid take damage, found weapon data dot block damage, like so. And I forgot to add a stun in here, so we can say local state service equals require script.parent.parent.state service. Now we can say, oops, let's organize this white space. All right, addState target hit, comma, stunned, and we can make them stun for like maybe 0.4 seconds, like so. And then we can go to our state service, because this line might not work because the target hit isn't an actual player and it doesn't have the state service folder in it, or the status folder in it. So if we want to fix that, we can go to state service, add state, and you'll see it will definitely not work because we set a not status folder then. But if it doesn't find it, we can just say something like status folder is equal to instance.new folder, status folder.name equals status, and status folder.parent equals the character. Or in this case, the character would be target hit. So this is going to work now. So if we just get out of that, and we go back to blocked, or default, the stunned should work. So let's go over here and look at it. We play the game, we look in, let's look at hit dummy, and you'll see that he has a status now. Oops, let's open it. Yep, you say he's stunned. And after that, let's go to like animation dummy. You'll see that it automatically makes a new status folder too, and stun gets added. Now let's go back to the block. Let's make a new dummy called block dummy. So we can duplicate the hit dummy we have and just call this block dummy. Like so. And let's just add a script in here so it can play the animation. So we just let's just duplicate the auto animation. We call this block anim. Now we can say local block animation equals, or no, let's say local humanoid script.parent.humanoid block animation humanoid animator humanoid load animation script.block anim block animation play. So yeah, that should work. So if we play the game, we'll see that the block animation plays, but we didn't account for the fact that we need to actually add the block status into the player. So let's go over here and we can add a status folder in here called block, called status. Equals script.parent. Or another way we could use is just add a folder called status in here. But I'm just going to do it script-wise for now, because it doesn't really matter in the end. After that, we can just add a block status, or local blocking. Instance.new folder, blocking.name equals blocking, blocking.parent status folder, like so. Now, if we play the game, and then we open the block dummy, say here's a blocking thing in here. So we hit him, we'll see that, okay, we have blocked hit type reached. Yep, like so. But now we actually have to work on the block break, because that's how we scripted it, for it to block break on the last swing. So we can duplicate the blocked module and we can call this block break. And we can duplicate this code and say block break. Like so. Now, we don't want the block break to actually make them take damage, we just want them to be stunned for a long time. So we can say block break hit type reached, and we can say get the state service in here. Now we can say local or state service dot addState, a target hit, comma, stunned, and we want them to be stunned for around 1.5 seconds. We can also add another state called block broken for 1.5. There we go. And notice how these two durations are the same. And we can also play the block break animation. So one way we can do this is we can use load animation on the animator. Oops, animator. Or we can make a animations module in here. So we can account for two of these things. So we can say, as you'll see that in our character we have the core and then animations. So we'd also need to duplicate the core and add that into there, like so. But we're gonna remove the input because we don't want the dummy to be accessing client script. So let's do this. And after that, we can go over here. We can say if target hit find for child core, then local animations module equals require target hit dot core dot animations, and then we can say animations dot loaded animations. Let's move the block break to just the normal animations. So we can just add a new folder in here called character, like so. And we can just go over here, block break. So loaded animations, and we can say character dot block break, and we can say play. Otherwise, we'll just load the animation normally. So we can say local animator target humanoid dot animator, or we can say find for child animator, because what if it's not there? So if animator, then we can say local block break anim equals animator load animation. Let's add an autocomplete to this, so annotate this like so. So now we can call load animation, and then we can say, let's add an assets variable in here. We can say assets dot character dot block break. Oops. Dot animations dot character dot block break. And we can say block break animation play, like so. So this is going to account for the fact that, okay, if there's a core and an animations module, then we play the normal animation. We don't need to load it. But there's not, we'll just load it and we'll play it. So in the script over here, we can just require the animations module. Require script.parent.core to animations. We can say animation modules are load anims, and we can say game replicate storage the assets of animations on character, like so. Now if we just get out of that script and we go over here, we'll also want the dummy to reblock after they're done block broken, so we can replicate that. So we can say while true do, or we can say, yeah, while true do test.wait, because remember, if you don't add a test.wait, it's just gonna spam the same thing multiple times, and it's gonna cause the script to break and output something like script exhaust time. So add a test.wait, and we'll say if status folder find first child block broken, or status folder find first child stunned, then we can say blocking destroy. Otherwise, we'll just reblock him, and we also want it to stop the animation, so block animation stop. Otherwise, we'll just create a new blocking instance. So let's make this function, create blocking instance, like so. And then we can just call that function. Remember the do not repeat yourself, so we'll just call the function here. And we'll also say for underscore comma v in status folder get chosen do. v.name equals stunned, then v destroy, or v.name equals blocking, my faults. Otherwise, we'll just say create blocking instance, and we want to play the animation. And then over here, since we don't want it to spam play the animation, we can say if block animation dot is playing, then we want it to stop. Otherwise, we can say if block animation, if not block animation that is playing, then block animation play. And we don't want to spam create a ton of blocking instances, so we can say if not status folder find first child blocking, then we do this. And there we go. This is going to allow for the dummy to reblock after it's been guard broken. So if we play the game, we'll see an error. Let's see. Attempt to index nil with get descendants. Oh, forgot to fill in the animator variable, okay, or parameter. So we go over here, we'll see that right here. We can go to script.parent.humanoid.animator, like so. And let's just go over here. We'll do all of this, move this up here. Remove all of this, so we can, instead of doing script.parent.humanoid, we can just say humanoid, like so. And let's go over here. Let's play game, and you'll see that it works. So he's blocking, and we can see that okay. And then he's guard broken. And then if we, he's doing a lot of damage. Hold on. Let's go to our blocked HitType. Block damage, found WeaponData. Let's see. Oh, okay. So yeah, interesting. Well, let's just remove this part of the script, and there we go. It should be fixed. Okay. Now if we go back to the blocked, and let's just remove all these prints over here. Now it should work. So let's just go over here to fist. We'll change this to 2 again. And then if we play the game, it should be fine now. Yep, there we go. And you see that he block breaks for a little bit, and then he goes back. Like so. So let's increase the block break time, or no. Let's make him reblock after a little bit. So we can say, if not satisfied or fine for shot blocking, then we can say test.wait 1 and make him reblock. There we go. Now we wait 1, and now he reblocks, like so. And in that time frame, we can do, you see how it's normal damage, but if you reblocks, we see that, yep, it works. And if we look at his status folder, you see it's only a single blocking. Which works because test.wait will yield this whole loop until this part is called. And yep, that's that. So that's going to be pretty much it for this episode. Mainly I just wanted to focus on adding in new hit types and showing y'all how to incorporate them into the script. So you see that we made it okay, we block break on the last stem one, and otherwise we do a blocked effect. And then if none of those apply, then we just do the normal hit type. And it's very easy to configure them, because if we want to have a unique functionality, we can say weapon use, blah blah blah, like I mentioned earlier. And you see that block damage, we have just the default damage over here. And then here, I showed you how to, if there's no animation module in here, then we just load the animation and we play it. Otherwise, we just get the animations module and then we play it. So yeah. So that's gonna wrap up this video. The next video is gonna be released later today as well. And it's gonna focus on adding visual effects to our combat system. Because right now, the combat system honestly looks extremely bland, and we don't want it looking like this when we release it. So we will add visual effects like a little blocked effect and a block break, sort of like a dizzy them spinning around effect, a hit effect, and things like that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. See y'all.